guys, this is Tim.
Ted?
Here with Ted. We're going to do a top 5 with Tim. We're going to do one we haven't done yet. We're going to do top 5 miniatures games. Ted's going to break down his 1 through 5, and he couldn't choose, so he had to bring in all of these other ones. What are there, 12 rule books here?
Yeah, this is just off one shelf.
One shelf. So Ted is the miniatures guru, along with Mike, who's actually setting up a demo out there right now as we speak. But these guys play all kinds of miniatures games, and once a month they come in and they demo stuff in the store. So they've showed us Bolt Action so far. Fistful of Toes is what Mike's setting up today.
Which is modern.
Yep, you did a Black Powder game last month. And then the first one you did, was the first one you did Bolt Action?
Yeah, first one was Bolt Action.
Okay, what was the next? Oh, then Check Your Six. The fighter game. So, showed us a lot of great games. There's just so many, so many for such a small store to carry. But we're working on it. We're getting, one thing at a time. I'm seeing a lot of popular names pop up. So, you guys are familiar with the show. If you're not, my guess will break down their top 5, whatever the category is, 5 down through 1. We'll chat about each one, and then we'll go from there. So, without further ado, I guess, what's your number 5?
My number 5.
Number
First
5.
time. Well, these are my top 5, not community 5. So some of them that people might like won't be on there.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, it should be your own personal. Yep, and it's not always stuff that we have in the store either, as you can see with Epic Armageddon. Yep, awesome. Okay. All right. So number 5.
Number 5, Star Wars. The
Which
miniature
you
game.
have.
Yep, which you do carry.
Yep.
Okay, I'm a Star Wars nut. I've been a Star Wars nut since '76 when I went and watched the movie.
Oh wow.
On my dad's motorcycle.
Oh, that's cool.
We went to the drive-in and watched Star Wars.
Awesome.
So when this game came out, it just, I love it. It's Starship fighters. Now they got Starships now, but Armada, but I don't.
When it first came out, it was just the X-Wings, right?
Just X-Wings and TIE fighters, which are the basic ones in the box, but now they've gone more. Now they're adding Star Wars Rebels, the animated series. They got their ships coming in now.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And they added they added the new X-Wings in the new box set, the second edition, with the new X-Wings and the new TIE fighters.
From the First Awakens.
Yeah, the First Order and
Yep.
And the Rebel. So, but what's nice about this? Well, a lot of people realize you buy the box, the miniatures are already painted. You flop them together, you sit down, and you can play. So
yeah, you can play it right out of the box, which is different than probably a lot of the other games, especially the games in front of me.
Oh yeah. You don't have to paint hundreds of miniatures for them. Your miniatures are already painted. You just need a few, play it. Once you figure out what faction you want to play, one of the 3 factions, then you can just keep adding, pick up things that fill in.
And from the look of the game, it looks like it's a pretty streamlined movement system.
Yeah, it's straightforward. It's hidden movement. You set your dials where movement is, and you move it. And the rules are really tight. It's not Games Workshop rules, so there's no ambiguity. It's very tight rules. They do have
well thought out.
Yeah, and the new one, the Star Wars second edition, they updated the rules, did some changes which came out through the couple years between but basically it's still the same thing. It's just a couple things, and they added all the special edition from the fighters into the book, like bombs and stuff.
Right. And so that's done by Fantasy Flight.
Fantasy Flight. 2 thumbs. If someone's playing this and you want to play it, boom, I'm down. I'm playing it. No second thoughts.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that you picked this because just this past week, we're filming this on a Saturday. Our game day on Tuesday, Jesus broke this out and it was a hit.
Yeah,
I mean, it caused us to actually increase our stock levels on it. So.
I played some demos. I read some demos at some conventions, and everyone who's played it went up and bought the box set. They just loved it.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
Yeah, it's not complicated. It can get a little complicated in measurements and placement, but beyond that, it's straightforward and you just have some fun.
So that's your number 5. That's a good start.
Okay.
That's a good start. What do you got for number 4?
Okay, now I'm going into historical now.
Okay.
Which are some fantasy people don't really care for them, but I'm a historical gamer. Black Powder. This is by Warlord Games.
Okay.
This is a set of rules that covers from 1700 to 1900. So the age of black powder before modern real ultramodern World War I weapons,
Right,
like the
right.
high bolt action rifles and
cartridges, stuff like that.
This is done by Rick Presley, who did the original 40K and started that whole business.
Oh yeah.
It's straightforward, fast, fun set of rules.
Good. That's really important, I think, in a miniatures game, is that it's easy enough to comprehend and you can play it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these games they're really ponderous and you can't quite. You know what I mean? You can't quite get into it and get playing.
Yeah. That's one thing that we like about a lot of other historical games. They're fun, but the rules are so in depth that you can spend an hour and a half just to make a couple moves.
Right.
Because it's so. This takes a lot. Takes a lot of the realism out, but it also keeps it in by easily.
It streamlines it.
Streamlines it up.
So
a lot.
you're still getting kind of the feel, but you're rolling dice like
yes.
40K.
You're moving because this is based on 25 millimeter. There's also exchangeable for 15 or smaller, but you're moving 12 inches at a time. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing about this is movement. It kind of takes in the command control of the period that you have to roll a command value on depending on who's your commander, and say his command value is 8. If you roll your two dice sixes, if you roll an 8, you get 1 move. If you roll 1 or 2 less, then you get 2 moves.
Oh, okay.
So that's a fire. But before you roll, you got to declare what that unit is doing.
Right, almost like you're issuing an order to the squad of guys.
Yeah.
And if they don't receive it, they don't
do it. So basically, if you tell a unit to move forward three spaces, you roll dice, you get 1, they just move 1. But if you want to say, I want to move forward, change direction, and move this way, but if you don't get the lower command, they're not doing it.
Right.
But then if you roll boxcars, they
Double
got
sixes.
Double sixes. There's a table you roll on where a unit can turn around and march off the table. Or that one unit can move all the way forward right into the cannons. They got the wrong order. So this is black powder. There's other ones, Piking Shot, and Hail Caesar, which is ancients and stuff. So they got
are those both Warlord games?
Yes, they're all Warlord games, and they got supplement books. They're different periods because they got Napoleonic rules. They got American Revolution books. They're kind of.
Is that what you guys played?
We played American Revolution last year.
Okay.
Last week with Revolution, which is it breaks down different regiments and stuff during the war and special abilities.
Okay.
And it gives you maps and stuff and battle.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, like scenarios. And
scenarios
stuff.
and
Okay,
stuff
cool.
like that.
Cool.
So that's a quick rundown of black powder.
Okay, that's number 4 for you.
That's number 4. Yeah, so that's the one. If that's being played, say you want to play, I'll sit down and play it. Yeah, it's a really fun game. So
the thing. I mean, not to hold this thing up too much, but I really like the immersion of the historical stuff. I'm a history buff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see this stuff, and it's a way to learn. You know, like not everybody's interested in that, but it's maybe you're fighting the battle of I don't know, nothing comes to mind, but like, is the Civil War in here?
yes, they got the American Civil War.
You could fight Manassas 1 or 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which would be pretty cool.
Well,
Gettysburg.
what's the fascinating thing is if you're interested in history, but you think reading books is dull and boring, you get something like this. You start reading, you have fun to read about because you get because you got paint the miniatures. So you got to look up the painting guides on different regiments. But depending if you're painting Civil War, okay, most Union's gonna be blue, but the Confederate could be brown, gray.
All mixed.
There's a lot of different, but you get to immerse yourself in the history of this stuff without getting bored of it because you're really learning stuff.
Yeah, and it's more immersive. You get the hobby aspect of while you're still learning. You're almost subconsciously learning.
Yeah. Well, let's say you do a Battle of Gettysburg. People go, Battle of Gettysburg, Robert Lee came up, Meade fought in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. But once if you want to game that battle, then when you start reading it, you learn why Lee came north and why Meade was stationed there.
Right.
You can learn the more political side. You get to learn everything. This involved in it.
Right. You kind of find out that it wasn't just a happenstance meeting?
No,
It
the
was-
Confederates were looking for shoes.
Yeah.
And there's a Confederate Union brigade sitting, cavalry brigade was sitting there. They ran and they started tearing into each other and started drawing forces in. And nobody wanted to fight the battle, but ended up one of their biggest battles in North. And
Yeah, completely unplanned.
Yeah.
Completely unplanned.
So it's just a fun thing is
Yeah.
you learn stuff on it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that personally. So that's a great number 4. What do you got for number 3?
Number 3, one that a lot of people haven't even heard of, Force on Force.
I heard Mike talk about that.
Yeah, this is by Osprey Publishing.
Okay, that is.
They do a lot of the painting guides and,
Okay.
and books and stuff. So this is modern. They do there are supplements, but we'll go with this. This is modern. This is from 1980 to 2016.
Okay.
It covers that entire genre of warfare.
Okay, cool.
This is a skirmish based game. You can run large scale battles, but it does bog down.
Now, what's the scale on
Okay,
this?
15 to 25s.
No, there are rule sets for both?
Not really, because the measuring usually balances out. We use 20 millimeter.
Okay. Oh, so you can pick anywhere in between?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we use 20 millimeter or 1/72 scale.
Okay.
So that's just because it's easy to get miniatures for them and vehicles and stuff.
Right. Now, do they not make a miniature set for these? Or these
No,
like
Osprey
you have-
doesn't. No,
Okay, so
they
you
don't.
have to use third party.
Yeah, use third party.
Okay.
Like I said, we use a lot of plastics and what we could find. There's
Okay.
a lot
Could
of
you
companies.
use something like bolt action figures?
Yes, you can.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because in the rule system, this is modern, but they have Vietnam, they have World War II, they have supplement books which break down because they got Africa, they got Mogadishu.
Oh, they're the same rules, but
Right.
for a different time period.
Time period, because
Okay.
they have campaign scenarios, they have special rules they added to it, depending on the era that you want to game.
Cool.
So basically, this book it covers basically Iraq and Afghanistan at that time period. But
Right.
you can, with these other ones, you can go back. You can do the African wars, rebellions, and stuff.
Right.
It runs differently because there's action and reaction. Because one side will have the initiative. If you have the initiative, you get to move all your troops. But as you move, who's ever the receiving can react to your movements.
Okay, so if you move into the open, they can mow you down
Yeah,
or something
so-
like that.
But what it is, so if you move up, if a unit can see you, they get to shoot at you, but that's their turn. They're done for the turn.
Okay.
So you sacrifice your turn for that to try to hose down the other squad moving up.
Okay, cool.
So so you really you have to be in the game, because if I move up and you're talking to someone and not paying attention,
You could miss your opportunity.
because once you move on to another unit, that unit you can't shoot at that unit until
Your turn.
Until your turn. But if they react to this unit, so
So you could essentially take away some shooting from them if you were paying attention.
right.
Where if you're not, they could then. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's very most people who run this or played it, you really do get the feel of modern combat.
Right.
It's a small unit skirmish. You really got maneuver. So there's a reaction phase is if they want to shoot you, they have your reaction test. You both roll dice. It's a die 6 game,
Okay.
and your base number to get is 4, because 4 or higher is assessed. There is variables in that.
Right.
But if both sides roll a dice, react. He's trying to beat your number, because if you move up, okay, I'm gonna react shooting at you. You both roll dice. If you roll higher as the troops moving, if you win, you get to move. So either you can return fire, or you get to finish the move behind the wall or something.
Oh, okay.
So yes, they saw you, they try to react, but you're too fast.
Right. You reacted to their reaction.
Or if
Okay.
if you move across, they're gonna react, shoot you. It's I'm gonna shoot them. So you can react, you shoot. So,
Cool.
but now if you roll a 1, you got to react. You get a card. There's a card deck that comes with a different period. You draw that card. The card has different rules that affect the board.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, if you're allied, U.S. forces, you can get a card because you got UAV. You get UAV flying around. Because most of the forces you're fighting are insurgent forces.
Right.
One rule they got is if you can't be seen, they can move anywhere on the table. So if they're behind a hill over here, you can't see them. They can move all the way to the other side of the table.
Okay.
But if you get the card UAV, you got UAV flying around. They can't do that.
I got you. You can see.
Yeah, you can
the
see
whole
everything.
battlefield
Yeah.
now. Okay.
But they can get cards which they can get reinforcements piling in.
Oh, okay.
Because they can get a technical vehicle, or you get 6 more guys just come piling out. So
That's pretty cool. Seems like a pretty well thought out.
it is, and there's stuff that can hinder you. One was called the Colonel said what? If you draw that card, your turn's done. Everyone stops. The Colonel said what?
Right, like everything's foobarred.
Yeah.
Foobarred. There's no. There you go.
So that's force on force, and it's a fun. If you want to get in a modern game, you buy the book. You don't need a lot of miniatures to play that. It doesn't take a lot.
Right. Could you theoretically use your 40K stuff? If you
Yes,
wanted
you
to?
can, yeah.
I mean, just to try the rule set?
Well, yeah, because what it is, it's modern day weapon, but you can use any futuristic guys you got because a gun is a gun.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it shoots a bolter round or a 223 round. It's still a round, so you can play it. And
Right. You could say these las guns are.
well, they can be rifles.
16.
Yeah.
Or your M4s.
Yeah, so it could be a different way to use your 40K miniatures in another game system.
To try something. Yeah, try something.
Something done. And yes, they're 40K, but they can be 20 years from now too, guys. The equipment and everything. So
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you got for number 2?
number 2, Bolt Action. One of the funnest games you will ever play. Another Rick Presley game too.
Yeah.
Rick Presley wrote this one too. This is World War II. It covers all genres of World War II, from the early war all the way to the late war.
They should almost bring Rick Presley back to Games Workshop.
They'll never will, because he will never work for Games Workshop again. What they did to him.
Yeah, we'll have to say that for another video.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
But I said this is a World War II. This is also by Osprey Publishing and Warlord Games.
Okay, because Warlord Games they do the miniatures.
Well,
And,
they do the miniatures, but they also wrote the rules. But
Okay.
Osprey Publishing published the rules because
I got you.
they're a publishing company,
I got
so they went together on the rules system. Yeah. So
And from what that was the first game you guys demoed in the store.
Yes,
and I
that's-
played it, and
yeah.
that game is phenomenal.
yeah, it was Russian versus. We did Battle of Stalingrad, Russian versus
Yeah.
Germans.
But it was, to me, it felt like what miniature war games, when I got into them, what I thought they were. I
Yeah.
thought they were a tactical game where where your
Tactics
movements,
mean.
yeah, where your movements matter, who you shoot at, what you decide to do matters. You're
Yeah.
not getting bailed out by
And
rolling a 2+.
and what's really neat about this is armor. Very low armor
For what do you mean, like on the
on the board.
on your soldiers, or you mean like tanks?
Tanks. I'm sorry, tanks
Okay.
and stuff. Sorry, armor. Yeah, there is no body armor.
Right, I got you.
There is no body armor. But I'm talking about tanks, armored vehicles. It does balance out because historically there was not a lot of vehicles. I mean, you had tank battalions and stuff like that, but most of the time it was just infantry slugging it out with
Right.
1 or 2 tanks supporting it.
Right, with some heavy weapons.
And I wish this tank, the armor, the rules they have for armor was in 40K. Because armor is survivable.
Survivable but anti-tank is scary too.
Yes, it is.
tanks.
Yes.
And you have to strategically or tactically
Yeah.
take that out, or you're going to lose your tank.
Well, what's really nice about it is armor is powerful in the game, but one guy with a Panzerschreck or a bazooka can knock your tank out with one shot, pow. So you have an armor, you have to have infantry out there to support that tank, which is realistic.
Yeah, you can't just plow it forward on its own.
No, it would, because it will get overrun and taken out. So
Right,
you have
it's
to have
not
infantry
end all,
supporting
but,
it.
but it's a support unit that survives long enough to
Right.
support.
Well, that's the big thing that people don't realize. In World War II, armor was support. Infantry was first, armor supported the infantry, and artillery supported both.
Right.
Because U.S. doctrine was U.S. tanks will not go against German tanks.
Well, yeah, they couldn't beat them.
Well, actually, there's a myth behind that they really were good.
Right.
But,
Well, I mean, the M10 was better than the Sherman. Like, they had better anti-tank than just your run-of-the-mill Sherman.
Well, yeah.
Although it did have a 75mm gun.
well, it had 75, then went to 76s. But the big, powerful Tigers, people were afraid. The United States in World War II only fought the Tigers 3 times.
Really?
Only fought them 3 times. Sherman's won 1, Tiger won one. And the last one, the Tigers were on a flatbed train, and they got nailed by Shermans while they're sitting on a railroad station. So all this movies about U.S. facing tigers,
Right.
it was all a myth.
Right.
It was very rarely faced tigers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there wasn't that many of them.
Right, that's right.
There wasn't
Not
a ton
many
of them around.
Yeah, but most of the time, most people say, "Oh, this is a tiger," is actually a Panzer IV, which kind of looks like a tiger, but,
Right,
but it's a
right.
smaller gun. But like U.S. doctrine, tanks supported the infantry, high explosive rounds, and if you ran into tanks, you're supposed to bring anti-tank
Right.
M10s
Your
and
M10s attached to
Wolverines
it.
up to take them out.
Yeah.
But with this game, it's simple, and it has one of the most ingenious initiative systems. Is every unit gets a little dice. It goes in a bag, both sides. You draw that dice out. Whatever color that dice is, that side gets to move. So you don't know if it's going to be allies or Axis powers that go
Yep.
get the turn. So if you're in a position where you need to go do something, you're going, I need my dice, I need my dice, I need my... Oh!
And that does come into play because
Oh, yeah.
you kept, when we played, you and I were on a team, and you just kept drawing our dice. We're like, no, let them go, because we didn't want to use up all our actions without
Yeah,
seeing what they
you
were
wanted
trying to
them to move so you can react to
Yeah.
it. So, to me, that's one of the best things that can be ported over to any of these game systems. Think 40K with that kind of system on it.
do. Yeah. Well, you had mentioned that 40K was using some, or the people were porting some rules over there. Were they doing everything? Or was it just,
No, they were porting some of the armor rules over, trying them out,
yeah, because
how the armor works, and they're doing the initiative system.
okay, the initiative system's pretty cool. Can you explain the armor system a little
Um,
bit? Because there's a very heated debate here in the store that there is one person that thinks vehicle combat in 40K is perfect,
right.
and then everybody else is like, wow, it seemed broken.
Well, you gotta think about it. You got a monstrous creature, which is harder to kill than a vehicle. Because a vehicle you can kill one shot. Monstrous creature you can't,
Right.
because they're immune to that. So, but basically, every weapon has a anti-armor value. Starting with like the 50 cal has a +1. Every piece of armor has every tank has an armor value.
Right.
Okay, so say if your armor value is an 8. When you're anti-tank, you got to beat that number. So you look up your anti-tank value of the weapon. This is kind of what 40K used to be.
Okay.
They used to be this way. Everything had an anti. So say your armor value is an 8. We'll say okay, your bazooka is an anti 5. So you take that, you roll die 6. You gotta equal or beat that.
Okay.
So now if you equal that the armor value, you roll die 6 on the penetration chart for armor, but you subtract 2 off of it because it was you just got the armor but you didn't penetrate. So it's like a glancing hit.
Right.
And you can't blow the vehicle up with that. So you can knock crew out, track it, or something like that. Now, if you penetrated it, then you roll the dice, you take it, which is you catch it on fire, it blows up.
Yeah.
Because you got a lucky hit, you hit the fuel and blew it up. Now, the one thing, if you over penetrated by 3, so if you need an 8, you rolled a 12. I mean, you rolled double 6s. Then you roll twice on the armor penetration table.
Okay.
So you did something catastrophic to the vehicle.
Okay.
So I really like those because it means that armor can survive hits. A lot of hits.
Can you glance it to death?
No.
Okay.
There is no glancing because on the penetration table it won't allow that. It's just like crew, track. You can keep tracking it because you're just hitting the tracks and everything. It doesn't nick, boom. Because there's no hull points.
Good.
There is no hull points. You shot it, yes, I tracked it. Oh, now it's a pillbox shooting back at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can one-shot it, but you got to use a big enough gun to do it.
Right. You have to use dedicated anti-tank.
Tank, well, yeah, you can take a tank out with one shot that way.
That almost seems logical.
Right. But it makes tanks can't be killed very easily. They are kings of the battlefield.
Right, but then when there's one tank on the battlefield and you lose it, it's devastating.
Yes, it is, because there's a lot of points for one thing. But it could turn the whole tide of the battle, because if you lose your tank, and that was your main forces pivoting around that, it kind of puts a hole in your army, and then you got really compensate for.
Right,
Yeah.
and when we played, we had some, I don't remember the model of the Russian tank that we were outflanking.
Oh, that was a T-30. Yeah,
And we were, was it a T-34?
Yeah.
I thought it was something weaker than
Well, no, it was a T-34 76.
Okay.
It was what they had at the time.
Okay. Well, it was, we were worried about losing our tank because they also had a tank.
Yeah.
And if we lost ours, or placed it wrong, or we didn't take out that anti-tank gun, we had potential to lose ours. It was going to make the battle that much harder to win.
Right, because that tank.
Because we couldn't run up to their tank and punch it to
Right,
them.
because tank had machine guns, which they'll shoot all day long at.
Which will kill infantry in this
Yeah.
game. It's really fun.
Yeah, so.
Really good
So
game.
that's bold action. It's a really fun game. It gets you World War II.
It's a very long explanation about vehicle combat, and
Well,
but it's a great.
that's a hot topic in
Yeah,
40K.
yeah, because a lot of things. It just that's another video for another.
Yeah.
But okay, number 2 is bolt action. That's a great choice. I'm really intrigued to
Yeah.
see what you got for number 1.
Number 1. This is gonna probably make people pull their hair out, make them go crazy, but I have to do it. Okay. I have to do it.
And I didn't know these ahead of time. I didn't know you had that on there. I should have assumed. But
Warhammer 40K. Yes, it's the evil empire.
The evil
It's
empire, that's-
the rules that get people fighting. It gets people angry, upset, but people keep playing it.
yeah, they just can't stop. Can
No, it's crack. It's the crack of the.
they? It is.
Yeah.
It's the king of all miniatures games.
Yes, it is a. Even with all the problems it has, it's still a fun. I had the most fun playing this.
Yeah.
People had the most fun playing it. No matter if it's the rules, but to me, it's the whole. It's the whole thing. It's the background, the fluff, the history. Well, I've been playing it since that.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, Rogue Trader in the '80s, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those that you just have fun playing with your friends. Mm-hmm. Last week we had a tournament here.
Yep.
People were just having a blast playing.
17 players.
All having fun.
A lot of 40K
So-
going on that day.
Yeah, people rave, complain about it, but people really have fun playing it. That's the
You're right. They just keep coming back. They can't stay away. And I'm as guilty as anybody. Because I complain about these rules because they are so broken.
yeah.
But
It's just.
I've got.
But what makes it fun? Yes, the rules are broken, but it makes you try to figure out how the way to break that broken rule.
Yeah.
Like the Tau or Eldar or Necrons. Yes, they're uber good, but it makes you work out combos to try to take them out. And I almost did it last week with my. Well, that's another story. Tau. But yeah, a lot of people go, oh, what about War Machine? That's a black. To me, War Machine's boring because it's always the same list. You have to play with the guys they have. They're changing that. They're adding some generic ones in there. But this you could form your own chapter of Space Marine. Have your own commander built the way you want. Name them, play them. You get to cry when he goes down, or cheer when he's just impossible odds. He walks through the blaze of gunfire, chops the.
Yeah, that's the thing that 40K has over any of these other games is it's able to surpass that realism.
Yes.
So you can have the guy in Terminator armor that's taking a tank shell to his chest and surviving.
Yeah, he's like, just laugh it off.
Yeah.
It's the Hollywood. It's Hollywood kind of.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
It is.
You got the one guy who can survive the most improbable, impossible way possible. And still come out and win the game for you. So.
Yeah, and it's funny when you talk about the history of it because it's got 30 years of history as opposed to like Bolt Action that has 80 years of actual history.
Well,
but that doesn't appeal to everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? The historical aspect doesn't appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
And you know, that's good and bad. I mean, it's a shame that some people are going to miss out on that, but this, with the fluff behind 40K, that's where these other games that are, I'm going to say upstarts, they're not still upstarts, but, you know, they're established and whatnot, but they just don't have that.
Well, the biggest thing is like a War Machine. If you read the fluff, it covers like 10 years of history that you get to play in. 10,000 years of history you can play in. Any time period in there you can
And
play.
perhaps more.
Yes. Yes. I think the clock just ticked a little bit closer to midnight in the Space Wolf books.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, with the 13th Company re-arriving,
Yeah, and the whole...
perhaps signaling the end of an era. But that's another video.
But that's my top 5. I said some people say, oh no, what about this game? But these are the ones that I would play anytime.
Right.
These are the ones I would sit down and play with no problem.
Well, I know we talk a lot of 40K around the store.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much anytime you come in, we're talking 40K, and that's just...
And what I say, anytime they come up with a new campaign book or anything, people are talking about it.
Yep.
I mean, it's like hot topics. What's new come out? What's changed in the history? So, I gotta say, it's my favorite.
Yeah. I think you put together a hell of a top 5. I haven't had a chance to play these. Yeah.
Eventually you will. We'll be running.
Yeah, I want to try Force of Will, or not Force of Will, Force on Force.
I got a friend who really involved. He actually wrote up some scenarios for that.
Oh, really?
So crack this open, play a couple.
Yeah, well, maybe use some of the minis from this. But this, I gotta say, I gotta agree. This is my number 1 right now, but Bolt Action is a close number 2. And actually, we're gonna be starting armies next week. Next week or the next 2 weeks, we're gonna get a couple guys playing it. So
yeah.
we're gonna have to use your expertise, Ted. But this is the king of the day for now. So, all right. Any last parting shots on?
Well, I said these are my favorite ones, but everything. I said this is just a small selection. I mean, I got stuff. This is chainmail. This is what started me in miniature gaming.
That's what started a lot of things.
Yeah, Chainmail by Gary Gygax.
I didn't realize you had a copy of Chainmail.
Yes, this is 3rd edition. I was 13 when I bought this off the shelf.
Wow.
At a bicycle shop here in town.
Really?
Yep. He carried miniatures and he carried Dungeons & Dragons stuff. I saw it, I read it, it opened my eyes up to a whole new world. And with some of the little miniatures I had laying around, me and my mom sit down and start playing it. So
wow.
she actually was the one that fostered my into miniature gaming. Yeah, it was my mom.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because when I was young, I didn't read or anything like that. But suddenly I started reading and reading and reading.
Oh, yeah. But now you got no choice.
It got me excited about.
Yeah.
To me, reading was like boring. It was like, oh. But this is like, oh, I need more. I need more. I mean, so this little book started it all right here.
Yeah. That started it all for a lot of. That's what spawned D&D, right?
Yep. Yeah. This came first.
So D&D spawned out of that.
Yeah, and D&D came off of this. So,
off of 40K?
No, off of Chainmail.
Chainmail.
Yeah. Chainmail came out, I think first edition like 72.
Yeah, and Rogue Trader was a derivative of the role-playing, because it was like a role-playing / battle game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, then they came out with AD&D. Then Games Workshop came out with Warhammer Fantasy.
Okay, so in the same line of...
Yeah, that was their version of it. Then 40K came up with Fantasy.
Okay, where they went into the futuristic...
Yeah,
also.
Yeah.
And now look, all these, I would say, all the rest of these are probably up here because of this.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Gygax, there was all miniature games around the time, but he was the guy that actually went out, published, and got people involved.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was just a different... It's just a completely different thing.
Before that, most miniature gaming was your professors, your teachers. That's where miniature gaming was. It was academics.
Right, okay.
There were academics.
People that had an interest in perhaps the history of replaying these battles.
Yes. One of the famous ones is Peter Cushing. He played Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars.
Oh,
He was a miniature player.
Really?
Yeah, he played miniatures. Because miniature gaming has been around since the turn of the century.
Yeah, because I remember...
H.G. Wells wrote...
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember seeing pictures of H.G. Wells on his knees playing...
miniatures, yeah.
Measuring out...
So it's been around, but it's been mostly academics. But when he came in, he made this blue collar. He took it from white collar to blue collar.
Right, got it. So everybody could potentially be...
Then suddenly, all this...
It's a whole niche economy that's kind of spawned off.
And it's slowly grown because Kickstarter has so many.
Yep.
So many in... So it's a golden age of miniatures.
Yep.
So whatever you want to play, there is a rule set out there that will play it.
That's probably pretty damn accurate.
Yeah.
But, well, there's your history lesson. your miniatures history lesson at the tail end of Top 5 and 10. Ted, I want to thank you for coming on and showing us your top 5 miniatures games and a plethora of other ones. Make sure you guys comment below. Make sure you subscribe and like the video, and let us know what your top 5 would have been, or if you disagree about War Machine, or you want to hate on Chainmail or 40K. Just comment below. We're always looking for feedback, guys. Thanks, Ted.
All right, no
and
problem.
Thanks for watching, guys.
All right, see you guys later.